I'm calling the cops on you right now. That's what Maggie Stone, our HOA president, screamed at me the day my wife finally came home from 8 months on the USS Truman. Emily hadn't even made it out of her travel clothes. She was exhausted just looking for some peace. But Maggie had other plans. She called the police on me for threatening behavior with a weapon while I was out trimming our hedges. I'll never forget the way that cop looked at me when he showed up, like he expected to find some dangerous criminal in the front yard. But the second Emily stepped outside and they realized who she was, everything flipped on its head. You could see Maggie's face just go white, her whole little empire starting to crumble right there in the Arizona sun. You know what's funny? That "Welcome Home, Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez" sign I painted for Emily, navy blue letters on crisp white. Nothing flashy, just proud, lasted a grand total of 3 hours before the neighborhood monster struck. I spent months counting the days till she got home, wanting everything to be perfect. Our kitchen still smelled like fresh paint when I hung that sign on the porch. I just pictured her tired smile lighting up, thought maybe for once good people might catch a break. But in this neighborhood, a smile is the first thing someone tries to take from you. I'm Alex Martinez, IT project manager, husband, homeowner in Riverside Heights, this sleepy suburb outside Phoenix. When Emily and I bought our 3-bedroom ranch, we figured we'd plant some roots, maybe start a family. Seemed like the kind of place where you'd know your neighbors, where the biggest drama might be a misplaced trash can or somebody's dog barking too late. We even laughed off a call from Sterling Development offering to buy our house for a quick sale, told them we'd found our forever home, not knowing what was coming down the pike. The day Emily was set to land, I was practically bouncing house-spotless flowers in the kitchen sun, shining just right. Mrs. Patterson across the street saw me fussing and called out, "That's so sweet! When does Emily get in?" She promised to drop by with a casserole, which is the sort of small-town kindness that makes you think the world might still be okay. Then Maggie Stone appeared like a cold front out of nowhere. No hello, no small talk, just standing on the sidewalk, phone out, taking pictures of my sign. She pulled out a tape measure. I swear it was like she came prepared to ruin my day. Measuring the distance from my porch to the street, scribbling in a little notebook, eyes hard as granite. When I asked what the problem was, she didn't even answer me, just turned and loud enough for the whole block said, "Some people think rules don't apply to them." Then marched off, leaving that cold feeling in my stomach you get when you know the fight's only just begun. Emily got home that night bone-tired but smiling the second she saw that sign. "You made this?" she whispered, her voice all choked up. She kissed me right there in the driveway, like nobody was watching, like we'd come through something and won. I told her about Maggie and she just shook her head. "Let's just stay under the radar. I'm too tired for drama. If only it were that easy." At 11 that night, our Ring camera caught Maggie out there again. This time in a bathrobe, shining her flashlight on the sign, measuring everything, muttering to herself and taking notes like a crime scene investigator. I showed Emily the footage over coffee, watched her posture change, military training kicking in. "She's planning something," she said. "Question is what?" 8:15 the next morning, email from the HOA. Violation notice, unauthorized signage. War officially declared. I thought taking down the sign might end it. Nope. Next morning, I got up early, took it down, tried to let her have her petty victory. Emily looked so disappointed. "You don't have to do that," she said. "Yeah, I do." I told her because I'd found out something worse the night before. Those HOA rules had been changed just weeks before Emily got back, almost like someone knew exactly what to target. Didn't matter. That was just the opening shot. Fines started piling up. $50 for our doormat being the wrong color, $75 because our planters were too tall, $100 for my truck being crooked in my own driveway, even $25 for organic debris migration leaves blowing on the sidewalk. Every morning, a new email, a new reminder I was being watched. Emily started getting mad. "This is harassment," she said, and she was right, but what could we do? It felt like quicksand, fight back, and you only sink deeper. Then I started hearing the same story from Frank Wilson, 2 houses down, a quiet, retired accountant who kept to himself. "She did the same thing to me, cost me $500 over a garden gnome," he told me, glancing around like Maggie might be hiding in the bushes. He also mentioned Sterling Development had called him just like they'd called us right after the trouble started. That's when the pieces started coming together, a pattern of harassment, then an offer to buy you out. You know what I mean? The breaking point came when Maggie showed up on my walkway, bringing two neighbors with her, speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. These people need to follow the rules like everyone else. I'll call the police if I have to. Emily was watching from inside her military bearing clear as day, while Maggie ranted and raved. That night, surrounded by piles of violation notices, Emily mapped out every rule change, every fine. She was seeing it like an operation, a campaign with objectives. This isn't random, she said. It's a coordinated attack. Friday morning, I'm doing yard work trying to keep our place perfect when two police cars pull into the driveway. Maggie follows behind, standing back like I'm armed and dangerous. The younger cop says they got a call about aggressive behavior with a weapon. I hold up my hedge trimmers, confused as hell. The older cop sizes up the situation, but Maggie's already in performance mode. I felt threatened. He was acting aggressive. Emily steps out calm as you please, hands the officer her military ID. Everything changes. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, USS Truman, the cop says suddenly, "All respect." Turns out the older guy served in Afghanistan. Now he's thanking Emily for her service, shaking her hand. Maggie tries to twist the story, but the cops aren't buying it. "Ma'am, this appears to be a false report. Filing those is a crime," the cop tells her, and for a second you can almost see her world shrinking. She loses it, demands a supervisor, screams about discrimination, and our neighbors are all out watching. One even records the whole meltdown on her phone. When the cops leave, Emily and I go inside and just laugh. After 8 months in a war zone, this is what greets her at home. Mrs. Patterson brings over cookies, apologizing for Maggie's behavior. And for a minute, it feels like the nightmare might be over. But Saturday morning, there's a knock at the door, a courier with legal papers. Maggie, using HOA money, is suing us for $15,000 for defamation and harassment. She's got one of the biggest law firms in Phoenix on speed dial, and she's bragging about it up and down the block. The whole neighborhood starts to freeze us out, friends turning to strangers overnight. Emily spends her days studying legal docs instead of settling in, falling asleep with highlighters and violation notices all around her. "Maybe we should just sell and go," I say one night, thinking of that call from Sterling Development. That's when Emily sits up, all the old fire back in her eyes. "I didn't serve 15 years to come home and let bullies win. This is our home. We're not running." Right then, Frank knocks with a stack of documents, phone records, HOA financials, and the real bombshell, Maggie's shell company, Stone Quality Services, which has been raking in HOA money for services that never happened. Landscaping, consulting, you name it, $40,000 paid out in 1 year, all to Maggie's home address. Even worse, Frank's got emails showing Maggie was feeding info to Sterling Development, targeting people with fines until they gave up and sold. Emily turns our dining room into a tactical ops center, files everywhere, timelines, poster boards. Other neighbors start coming forward with their own stories. Harassment, sudden fines, then an offer to buy them out cheap. The plan is clear. Maggie bullies people out. Sterling snatches up the houses. She gets a cut through her fake company. But Emily finds the real smoking gun emails between Maggie and Sterling, laying out the whole scheme, even discussing us by name. Rodriguez: property resistance stronger than expected, increased pressure through legal costs. We gather everyone in Frank's basement. Mrs. Patterson, the couple from 2 streets over, the retired teacher, all with the same story. By Thursday, Emily's got the evidence organized: financial fraud, harassment, conspiracy with a developer. Frank calls for an emergency HOA meeting. Saturday night, the community center's packed. Maggie tries to bluff her way through with some nonsense PowerPoint, but Emily takes the floor, and with the calm of a military briefing, lays out every piece of evidence: body cam footage, fake invoices, the emails, social media posts of Maggie showing off her new handbags the same day she billed the HOA for emergency services. You could hear a pin drop. Residents start shouting, "That's our money." She tried to make us sell, too. Frank calls a vote of no confidence, 28-1. Maggie is out effective immediately. Of course, she melts down, threatens lawsuits, screams about discrimination, but nobody's listening. Now phones are out, recording her final tantrum. Emily announces we're turning everything over to the DA and the FBI, fraud, conspiracy, the works. 6 months later, Maggie's house is up for sale. She's facing federal charges. Sterling's big development deal is dead in the water. And Frank, now our new HOA president, has cut our fees and actually made improvements that help people. Emily's welcome sign is back on the porch right next to a new one. This home stands for truth. Riverside Heights finally feels like the place we dreamed about, a real community. But you tell me, what would you do if your HOA tried to steal your home? Comment "Justice served" if you think every bully deserves to go down swinging, and share your story below. I've got a feeling this isn't the last time folks will need to stand up for what's right.